garden at all?
I couldn't really care less.
Not too sure about it.
I'm kind of indifferent about it. More city gardening.
Have you ever taken part in any city gardening?
No. Oh, no.
Not personally.
Probably not.
Probably not. I don't think I have.
Our report comes from a global pulse series about the growth of the so-called mega cities.
Challenges in maintaining green spaces.
Urban oasis. By definition, an urban oasis is an open public space which is located between buildings in an urban setting. Proven to increase a population's mental health and well-being, provide a sense of community amongst concrete jungles, as well as promoting biodiversity in the most densely built-up grey areas of the world, and also many, many more benefits. But what we want to know is why there has been no action to create more urban oases in our cities. We emailed 10 of the biggest city councils in the UK asking what is being done to tackle this matter and whether this is any form of priority. We got 0 responses. So if the city councils aren't responding, who can we talk to get more information? Andy Sturgeon. Andy is an award-winning British landscape and garden designer. He is deemed a commentator in the international garden design sector. His expert perspective can give us more information on the lack of city gardening and what we can do to combat the crisis. Our crew went to his townhouse in Brighton and we sat down for an interview with him.
To introduce yourself briefly, just your name and your profession.
My name's Andy Sturgeon and I'm a landscape architect and garden designer. When I first started gardening it was deeply unfashionable and that of course has changed, so that's helped a lot of young people to get into it. But I think it's all about entry level things, you know how I got into it. You grow mustard and cress for me as a child, now it's more about house plants for example. Start small, grow whatever you can, you don't need much space even if you don't have any outside space. It's so rewarding. Even having a plant pot on your desk in the office, you know, things like that, little things add up to so much. One of our recent projects is the roof gardens at Battersea Power Station, and it's 2 hectares of rooftops, they're essentially urban parks that sit on what would otherwise have just been a hard rooftop with nothing there at all. And it's amazing how putting these sort of green lungs into the heart of a development makes such a huge difference. By planting trees in an urban area you can reduce the local temperature by several degrees, 2 or 3 degrees, and that makes an enormous difference to the quality of people's lives. There are so many reasons to make green spaces in urban locations. There's a lot of talk now about mental health and well-being, but there's also a huge community aspect to making green spaces. Of course, not so much if it's a private garden, but if it's even the front garden outside your flat or your house and you're doing something that contributes to the street and the locality that can get people engaged with it. If you can see a tree out of your window, it's a positive thing. If you've got a balcony, even better. If you've got a private garden, better still. Access to a green space, a park, the beach, whatever, all these things of improving the quality of people's lives. And if you can actually garden as well and do the physical gardening aspect, you know, that's even better still. You know, things like that, little things, add up to so much.
Now that we've spoken to Andy, it's clear that a big factor of the underrepresentation of city gardening lies with the younger generations. In the UK, 52% of people that enjoy gardening are aged 55 and above, 31% are aged 25 to 55, and a very minuscule 17% of UK residents that enjoy gardening are aged 16 to 24. On the flip side, there's a significantly higher amount of young people living in urban areas, opposed to the middle-aged or the elderly, who of which we can see take up more of the rural population. From these opposing demographics, it's clear to see that the responsibility of urban gardening lies in the younger generation's hands. We want to delve deeper into this ideology held amongst the youth and speak to one of the few young gardening enthusiasts. So, we met up with Oscar Ryland, who is a full-time tree surgeon and gardener at the age of 20 and loves working in the industry. We followed him around on one of his gardening jobs for a local resident and found out more about his unique passion.
I don't think I've ever been on camera like this before. I got into gardening because my dad does it. In the autumn and the winter, I'm more of a tree surgeon. In the spring and summer, I'm more of a gardener. I do enjoy it because it's always really nice to be outside. You know, it's nice to be with people who just want to have a bit of fun and relax and have a good time. Yeah? Green spaces are incredibly important in urban areas as they give a quiet space and a relaxing space for people who want to get out of the hustle and bustle of a city and just sit in a park. I think that we as a younger generation are responsible for the future, and if we don't use these green spaces and help grow them and maintain them, then we'll lose them. If you don't use it, then you lose it. And you might not appreciate the green spaces at the time, but when they're gone forever. It'll be a great loss for everyone if that happened.
Our chat with Oscar has proven that there are young people out there who enjoy gardening. And not just gardening, there are plenty of young people who enjoy socialising in green spaces. We've spoken to a garden expert, we've spoken to a young gardening enthusiast, we've analysed all the relative data. The next step is how. How can we put this ideology that gardening is unfashionable behind us and start the movement of promoting urban oases? The key is to foster a sense of community ownership, involve diverse stakeholders, like residents, businesses, schools and authorities, and be creative in repurposing urban spaces for greening efforts. Let this documentary be a catalyst for a greener, more vibrant future. One seedling, one plant pot, one urban oasis at a time.